So very pleased to be joined by 2011 Open Champion, 2022 Senior Open Champion, and four-time Ryder Cup champion, none other than Darren Clarke. Darren, how are you?
I'm good, Stu. Thank you. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for spending a few minutes. First of all, before we go any further, happy birthday, man.
Yeah, I'm sort of, when you get to my age, you're trying to not count them anymore. 57 yesterday. But we went to an unbelievable restaurant last night. We went here in Calgary, unbelievable.
Good. I'm glad you had a great time. Thanks for taking a few minutes. We are here at the Rogers Charity Classic. We're just outside the Golf Town merchandise tent. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. I think you probably sold a little bit this morning whenever it was cold, but you got enough stock in there to cover everybody anyway. It looks awesome in there.
Because we are here outside our merch tent, let's talk about style on the course a little bit. Could you describe your style out there when you're playing?
For the most part, pretty classic. No more of this stupid wild stuff that I used to wear. A little bit more sensible tones, but it's just more of a classic sort of tailored, shirt tucked in, old guy sort of look.
Like traditional.
Yeah, traditional.
Don't say old guy.
Yeah.
Traditional.
Traditional.
There we go. This is your fifth Rogers Charity Classic. A couple of years ago, you were fourth. Last year, you were third. Obviously, Canyon Meadows suits you.
Yeah, I like Canyon Meadows. I love coming to Calgary. I love the golf course. It just fits my eye. The course is always in mint condition when we come here. It's brilliant.
Talk about a little bit about playing in front of a Canadian crowd as opposed to playing elsewhere around the world.
Yeah, the Canadian, because as I've been told, you come up here, and I know Mike Weir really well, for a long time, Weir's and the Canadian fans seem to really appreciate us coming up and playing and what have you. And they're a very knowledgeable crowd as well. If you hit a really good shot out of the rough, the people out there have been, give you a clap. Sometimes you don't need to hit it to 3 feet. If you hit a great shot out of the rough to 30 feet, they'll still give you a round of applause, which means that they know their stuff.
I'd love to be able to hit one out of the rough to 30 feet. So for people who haven't experienced a Tour Champions event before, to an outsider, it kind of looks like it's a little more casual. I'm not going to say relaxed, because obviously you guys are competing at a very, very high level, but it's a little more, the vibe is a little more casual.
Yeah. Compared to what we all used to do. I played European Tour, PGA Tour, playing all the tours over the world for a long time. And, it's a little bit more, should you say, focused. Yeah. But here, because we have got 2 Pro-Ams and stuff in the Champions Tour, it's a little bit more relaxed. But make no mistake, whenever we get in that tee on a Friday morning, we're back to being tour pros again. And, our best buddies will want to kick their butts as hard as we can. That bit never leaves you. We're very fortunate to be playing on the PGA Tour Champions, to have, at our age, still to have professional golf to a high standard, and we're still competing. So from that point of view, we're very fortunate.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like maybe Mike we were saying yesterday, maybe you don't hit it quite as far, but man, the accuracy is still.
Yeah, and you come and you watch these guys, and the short game and getting it up and down, holding putts, and you're right, we don't hit it so far, but the guys still hit it really well.
Yeah, it's incredible just to see the athletic, the juices get going out there. This is a Ryder Cup year. It's a Bethpage. As the Ryder Cup, obviously, you're very familiar with. You've won 4 of them. Every time the Ryder Cup comes along, we hear about the difference in teams between the United States and Europe, and the camaraderie that the Europeans have. Is that a real thing?
Yeah,
and how much does that help you guys?
Well, one of our old things that we used to do with the Ryder Cup and the European team was we all get together on a Monday morning, and everybody would depart on the following Monday. And one of our old things in the European side was you leave your ego outside the door on a Monday morning, and then you pick it up on the following Monday when you leave. And that always seemed to work for the Europeans. Not that the Americans don't do that, but the European Tour back in the day, whenever we would go and play a tournament, wherever it may be, Spain, Portugal, wherever, you go to a local restaurant, you see tables of 10 players eating together, tables of 8 players eating together. In America, because they've got so many more options, it was more inclined to be room service, and the guys didn't really mix that much. Europe's just a different sort of setup that way.
And how does that camaraderie, the word I use, how does that translate into victories?
Yeah.
Because Europe's won 8 of the last 11.
Well, that's a very good question. I'm sure Keegan Bradley would love to know that answer. I don't know if anybody does. It's just, we get fired up for it. Europe's always the underdog. America's always, on paper, got the stronger team. And, that suits us. That suits the Europeans. And, fortunately, the margins are so fine. You got 24 of the best players in the world playing 18 holes of match play against each other. Anybody can win. And just this past while, Europeans have played a little bit better than Americans, and the Europeans have had the run of the golf ball. You need a little bit of a break, you need momentum, and the Europeans have been able to grab it and run with it.
Can't wait for it.
No.
Final question for you. What golfer do you enjoy watching the most right now? And you can't say Rory McIlroy.
No. Rory came up through my foundation for me, was this high. He's not much taller than I, but Rory's come up through my. Who do I enjoy watching most now? That's a really good question. You know, I love watching Bryson because he's so different. Yeah. You know, he's out there. I love watching Scotty Scheffler because nothing phases him. He's incredible. But I'm going to go against what you said. If I'm going to watch anybody, I want to watch Rory McIlroy, because not just because I've known him, but as a golf fan, the way he hits the golf ball, the natural talent that he has. You know, he implodes now and again, but he's got so much raw talent. And you know,
did you know from a young age?
Oh yeah, from he first came when Rory started hitting balls in front of me when he was 10 years old. He was incredible. And the only other real one that I've been very, very fortunate to be friends with Tiger for a long time, and played a lot of practice rounds with Tiger, played against Tiger a lot. So Rory's the only one that really I've seen, you know, that hits the ball, that does the same sort of thing as Tiger. And that's, for me in my career, that's a pretty big thing. But Rory is a wonderful young man. He's a great ambassador for the game. He does so much for charity that's not publicised, and he's just a great. Him and Scotty nowadays, you know, are great poster boys for our sport.
Darren Clarke, thank you so much for spending some time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be here.